Nomad at night, starring the one and only Nomad.
Yo, No Maniacs. Welcome to the show. Welcome to this special breaking news edition of Nomad at Night. Listen, dudes, ladies, gentlemen, I think the Bears fan base and organization needed a big jolt of enthusiasm, and for a bunch of different reasons. And even though Ben Johnson isn't, to be clear with you all, he wasn't my first choice of head coach. I had my questions about him, and I still do. But I'm not about to poo-poo this hire at all, not once during this show. I'm optimistic about it, cautiously, but I'm optimistic about what he can bring to the table. There's some serious cachet that he brings to the table offensively on how he schematically plays football that I really, really like about him. You know, it was always going to be, how can you manage the guys in the locker room questions that I have, whether people feel a way about it or not. That's just my personal questions about it, but I'm optimistic about this hire. But even more so, what's really got me excited, kids, is the fact that who he's bringing along with him as DC.
Who's he bringing?
Dennis Allen, former Saints head coach, former Saints defensive coordinator as well. One little thing I'll say about Dennis Allen that I don't know that a lot of people know. This dude, he's the guy that retired Tom Brady. It was him, that defensive scheme, and his style that retired Tom Brady. He's a very, very aggressive 4-3 base, kind of hybrid 4-3-3-4 kind of defensive coordinator that he just calls it well. I mean, he's perfect for what I was hoping. I was hoping whoever got that job, he would be somebody on the short list of coordinators, and we got him. When I seen that, I went from, okay, I'm feeling good to, oh shit. This is a good hire, man. This is a good staff he's bringing along with him so far. I haven't heard the latest news, but Kedz, I'm telling you, I like what they're doing so far. I think I'm just going to go out there on a limb and say Ben Johnson should be a home run hire. But I know for a fact, bringing along Dennis Allen to a defense that we don't have to turn over now. We don't have to turn over the personnel. That should be exciting to everybody. We don't have to wait a couple, 2 or 3 years to get the defensive personnel turned over and get us going in the right direction, man. And I'm telling you, this is a good hire, man. But let me shut up, man. I'm fairly excited about this thing. Just reading the news on ESPN about it. What say you, bro? What you thinking?
Well, I think this is a PR win for the Bears. This is a PR win for George McCaskey. Would you believe that? This is a PR win for Kevin Warren. This is a PR win for Ryan Poles, because good Lord, a certain somebody might not have looked real good on today. This Monday, a certain GM might not have looked great today. So getting a win like this might make guys like me talk a little bit less about that certain GM. I just gotta put it like that, right? Like, this is what he needed to do to take eyes off of his mistakes. He needed a splash, needed a big move, and I wish I could say that this is not that. This is definitely that. This is the character that everybody was looking to sign. Whether your name was Tom Brady, I see in the chat, Jay Capone Don. Jay Capone, yes, we beat the cheater to the punch. And y'all know which cheater he's talking about, right? You know exactly who he's talking about. There's deflate gates. There are tuck rules and things of that nature. In any event, yeah, I wasn't so certain of a few things that we started to discuss yesterday, and some of them look like this. Taxes, you know what I mean? Ain't no taxes in Vegas. Weather, man, I'm going to have to say they probably got Chicago beat by way of weather. But they don't have a quarterback. So, in my opinion, we got the opportunity to watch this guy sort of come out and do a couple of things and show off to the Chicago Bears and the Chicago Bears brass in our 2 games against the Lions this season. And I think in seeing that, that Ben Johnson really had his eyes on this job. He might have had his eyes on the job the previous year, but they decided to stick with Eberflus. And, the coolest part about all this to me, it's really this. The coolest part is that he hasn't even been to Hallis Hall for the interview yet, right? He went to, he's taking this sight on scene, and that shows a lot of faith to me.
I mean, what are you going to really, by the way, Miguel Goncalves, thank you, my bro. Thank you, my bro, for the $10 super chat. Appreciate it. He says, let's hope this can bring this divided fan base a bit together. I fear it will further the divide. I don't know about that, man. I know that we have a pretty strong and powerful voice out here in the podcast community, and not everybody over here was in line for the Ben Johnson hire, but I'm going to always be a Bears fan first, and I'm going to be optimistic about it because I do think offensively he can bring something that he emphasizes to the table that we sorely need, and that is a powerful run game. You know what I mean? That part, and plus, the idea that he can bring Caleb along, hopefully that works out the way they want it to, and he can get that kid to ascend to another level, which he needs to in order for this to be the right hire in the first place. But I don't know, man. Miguel, it could be people out here like I was a big Thomas Brown guy. You know what I mean? I really thought that he deserved a chance to get the whole shot at it. But I'm not going to be, as far as I go, I'm not going to be the divider in this. I promise you that. I'm going to be optimistic and let's see what he does, man. He's here now. He's one of us.
Yeah, there's no point in division at this point. Right now, I think, Miguel, you kind of hit the nail on the head. What we really need now is unity, and I think that's what, when I say this is a PR win, that's really what this should be pushing. This should be pushing a unified front now underneath, quite frankly, a wonderkind type head coaching prospect. I am going to say the obvious shit now, so let me just get it out of here, and then we'll go back to saying this is awesome sauce. All right, so let me go. No head coaching experience. There's no magic wand being waved. Things may look shaky over the course of the next season. Just being real with y'all. But we have to give him the opportunity to come in here, make his impression felt, and turn things around in hopes that potentially we may see a little bit of an uplift. We may see some watchable football in Chicago because this guy actually knows what he's doing by way of offense. And when I say that, I mean that he's the type of offensive coordinator that is less scheme-driven and more so he dials it up in response to the defense. So we've watched a couple of previous coordinators now who are much more scheme driven, as well as have no idea how to adjust. That's not this guy. This guy's much more adjustment than he is married to a scheme. And that's cool. So I want you guys to sort of take both sides of this here. He may need a little bit of runway to get the job done and get to where he needs to get to. But the true upside here is that he's going to look at what defenses are presenting him and scheme around that and against that and to attack that. And that will allow him to be a lot more nimble as a coordinator. I like this. Personally, I will say the obvious as well. I was starting to really lean towards a Mike McCarthy. I really was. As the days went by, I wasn't sure if Ben Johnson was going to wind up here. And the Mike McCarthy idea was warming up. I was warming up to it. But let's be real. This is a PR win for those three guys in the brass, those guys that they keep shining a light on, turning the camera over to when we're getting our butts whooped. Yeah, these three guys are starting to look a little bit better now, especially in the eyes of the NFL. And hopefully they made the right decision, and this guy can continue to make them look a little bit better as we move forward.
Let's talk a little bit schematics, like schematically, just to be clear with the supporters out here. What he does, Ben Johnson does, isn't, and I've been saying this for quite some time too, it isn't at all complicated. He got, like I said, he's got a couple of bells and whistles in each each scheme for whatever week he's playing and whoever he's playing against. But he doesn't. It's the trickery is here and there. You know what I mean? He's not really adjusting anything. He's saying that we got more of a dominant front and we've got more dominant running backs, and we can just beat you and tell you ahead of time, signal to you what we're going to do and tell you can't stop it. And so that takes a whole lot of, I think a lot of that is Mike McCarthy. I mean, not Mike McCarthy, but what's the head coach? Dan Campbell insisting on, man, force that down their throat, the run game. Be powerful in the run game, force your will on the other team. That is part and parcel of what he's going to bring to the table. And I don't know that Caleb Williams he's going to want to throw the ball a whole lot more than they'll be asking him to when Ben Johnson is here. They're going to run this football. I'm telling you. And he's a throwing quarterback, and that might not sit too well. I don't know. I hope he takes to that, but
Nomad. But
he has to throw it 30 and 40 times a game.
Shouldn't that have been the damn story this season, though? Like when we were looking at this,
do that though, kid. They wasn't set up at all.
No, they're not. And again, you know whose fault that is. But like that should have been what they were trying to, like, having the rookie quarterback throw the pill 40 to 52 times in a game is crazy talk. That should not have been the formula this season at all. It should have been run the rock, protect the kid, and give him his opportunities to do things with, if we're talking about, how many times he's throwing the ball, it should have been between 21 and maybe 32 at a high. 52, 40 plus, that's nuts. So this run game has to get fixed. I wouldn't necessarily put the Lions thing on Dan Campbell. And the only reason for that is just because, man, they took a beating by way of just securing the best offensive lineman that they could secure over the last little while, until finally, once that unit was set, unleash Jahmyr Gibbs, unleash David Montgomery, unleash Jamal Williams too, like a year before, and they started to get it done on the ground, and they knew they could. So after that, it was more of a, if you stop me. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how they go to market with the run game. Question is, to me, can the Bears mimic something like that? Because I think that is of the utmost importance to the level that me and you yesterday were talking about potentially, like, you were saying in your mocks, you might even draft 2 running backs, which is crazy talk. I had to shoot that down, but I'm with you. We need to retrofit that room. It needs to be, they need to take advantage of that run game in order to get Caleb to where he needs to go next.
I got a couple of mocks that I did. I downloaded that have 2 running backs in each one of them, and that's you go there if you trade down that pick, that number 10 pick. If you trade down, you're gonna give yourself a couple extra assets, and I do think he's DeAndre Swift was part of that offense up there, so it's a good likelihood he stays, but not as the number 1 back. They're gonna get a thumper. Where they get it from, who knows, but there's going to be a thumper that comes to Chicago, and they're going to look for that 1-2 punch that way. One other thing I want to mention about Caleb Williams, and I'll tell you why this is very beneficial to him. And it's part of what you just said, but just to elaborate on it a little bit, like, it's the best protector of a quarterback that you can. The offensive line wants to go downhill and block in the run game. You don't put so much responsibility on them in the passing game. And in turn, it gives Caleb time because he's going to need it. This is a new offense, new scheme. It's the West Coast offense, but new verbiage, new schematics on how they use the bells and whistles and all that kind of thing. But it's a good time for him to start growing, and they not put so much pressure on him to deliver and win games because of his arm. He won't need to do that. And so this is really good for him in probably ways that he may not like so much because he's not throwing it all the time, but he'll have to get used to it. And so I think it's a good thing for him, for real, I do.
Robert Frail came in. Robert Frail came in and pissed in my cornflakes, though, and it's funny. I just got to put it up. So Robert Frail says, everybody knows drafting a quarterback, then hiring a new head coach next year always works out perfectly. I got that with you, bro. That's pretty funny. But you know what? What were they? What else were they gonna do here? Like they could have went with somebody else as far as the head coach is concerned. They definitely had to hire someone. And I'm just glad that at least for once they got the most obvious choice, right? They went and they got him. They got their guy, and they're paying out the nose to do it, I guarantee you, because once more,
yeah, I heard the Raiders were offering $92 million. So if that gives
that's exactly where I was going. Like, the other thing to talk about here is, like, whoever Ben Johnson's agent is, shout out Trace Armstrong, whether it's you or it isn't, whoever his agent actually is, he created a bidding war. Remember me talking about a bidding war with Kevin Warren and the good folks in Arlington? This is really what happened here. There's a bit of a bidding war. And if the Raiders came out and put a number on the table, what has happened is that agent went right back and said, look, Ben Johnson wants to be y'all's head coach. This is what you're up against. Can you match it? And I guess they could. And this is what I was saying to you. Yeah, like this is exactly what I was saying yesterday. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. Money talks, BS walks. If the Bears can match that dollar amount that's coming from Vegas, then I don't really see Ben Johnson taking that job, because he's going up against Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh twice a year. That's crazy talk. Plus Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and a burgeoning Bo Nix without a QB? Yo, so my guy just came out of this with the money, the quarterback, and the respect of the Chicago Bears fans. It's crazy.
It's a tall task, man. Let's not be, I'm not going to quell no excitement, man. Be excited about it, but understand what the task is. And that's going to be, anytime there's a new offense installed, some shakiness comes with it. You know what I mean? It's the verbiage and the understanding of everybody's now got to learn a new offense, and which is, at some point, eventually, whoever came in here, that's what it was going to be, right? Whoever they hired was going to bring in some new version of whatever. Just so happens that this is another West Coast offense, but run in a different kind of way. I start thinking about I want to so bad get out of this podcast so I can look at the Saints' their roster, man, their defensive guys on that roster and who might be available. You want to pull that up before we get out of here, kids? I wouldn't be mad at you, but man, dude,
I will tell you that Cam's gonna be gone. Cam's up in age now. Cam Jordan. He's a free agent this season for sure.
I mean, that could be a guy that he brings in. That's the only coach that Cam Jordan knows. Is Dennis.
To be honest with you, as a one and done, like 1 year in, one and done situation, he would lock down that other side, man.
Man, dude, it's they've got some pieces over there like Chase Young or the guy.
I forgot Chase Young was over in New Orleans too. Yeah, you're right. He's also a free agent.
Yes, and so I mean, there's so many reasons to get excited, y'all. I mean, for whatever reasons you are excited, everybody likes Ben Johnson. I'm all right with it. I'm more excited about the fact that we're bringing in an aggressively qualified defensive coordinator that we don't have to turn over that. I can't explain to you guys how important that is right now because of the capital we spent on that defense. We spent a lot of money and capital on that defense. Now he doesn't have to turn it over. He can just add to it in the draft and in free agency and get that ball rolling. And so we could be reasonably competitive right away, with that from that side of the ball. As the offense is coming along and getting used to their britches with a new scheme, you can have a solid defense that can keep you in pace in games and have you competitive. I'm not going to reach out and say we're going to win 10 games because of Dennis. Hell no. I'm saying that we'll have a chance to compete because of the style of defense that he runs is much more aggressive than Matt Eberflus.
I didn't see that coming, and I am going to say that their defense has held up very well this season as far as New Orleans is concerned. It's actually held up very well under him. So I don't know a lot about Dennis Allen. You're definitely a little bit hype about it. What's popping, Daryl Gibson? I'm a little bit less hype, but I can say historically that defense has been pretty decent, man. It actually has. So given our personnel, as long as we don't really have to shift personnel, we just need to bolster what we have. I think we're doing pretty well, man. I think that's a decent look as far as the defense is concerned. My real happiness here the whole time, I've been leaning towards an offensive head coach, and at the very least, we know that we're not going to have to worry about the offense changing, switching up in 4 years because this guy did well and somebody else is going to come in. No, he's going to be here. He'll be running the offense. And again, from what we've seen so far, he can do a pretty decent job at that. You know, it wasn't his fault that the Lions lost this past weekend. You can ask Don. Don will tell you.
That's definitely quarterback issues. That, like I told Don forever, since I've been talking to him a year and a half, 2 years ago when I met him in chat, I was like, y'all got a ceiling, man. No matter how good that team gets, if y'all keep that quarterback, there's a ceiling on him, and he's gonna hurt you every single time. And sure enough, one and done. And this is the best team Detroit's ever gonna get. Period. The best team they're ever going to get, and they couldn't get it done, got knocked out in the first round. But that's neither here nor there with me. I'm too excited about, y'all know I'm a defensive guy. I lean defense. That's how my mind works, man. But, I pay attention to the offense and do my due diligence there, but I know defense wins it all for you. You know what I mean? If you ain't got what you need on defense, you ain't got no chance. You can just try to outscore everybody all you want, but if you ain't got a defense that can stop people, then you're in trouble. And so I'm just thoroughly excited that guy is coming. I think he's right there at the top of the list of the guys that I would have wanted to come in here as a D coordinator. I'm just excited, dude.
The scroll says he can see Motor City, DC being our DC in 3 years. Don, the shots were firing left, right, and center. And I suppose it's really become a thing now. Let's see what that offense looks like under whoever you guys figure out as an OC moving forward. It should make for some interesting games next season, that's for sure. And you're darn straight, Nomad. This window is closing faster than I think they really might have imagined. But I feel like I feel like Ben Johnson always wanted this job. He's been auditioning all season long for it, and he scored the job, man. He got the gig, which is, in my opinion, awesome. And there's the other factor. The other factor was really Ryan Poles, and whether he was going to come over into a situation with an existing GM. So that was always sort of tenuous and in question. And I guess we got our answer. Yup. Right. He's here. Ryan is here. One more win for Ryan Poles in this respect. I don't like the guy, but I got to give him this one. You know what I mean? This is definitely a win for him. It makes him look a little bit less shifty in the eyes of Bears fans. He conducted the search. They've interviewed 17 people. 17. It's a lot. That's pretty diligent. I got to give him that. And if they figured out that Ben Johnson is that guy, and they made that $92 million commitment, that's crazy, obscene, and I got to respect it, because under normal pretenses, y'all know Matt Eberflus wasn't making no $92 million. You know what I'm saying? He was the bargain basement option.
Because there's three things that I can pretty much guarantee you now that I know who the head coach and the defensive coordinator is going to be. Number one, we're going to be running the West Coast offense, a version of it.
Yes, sir.
So that system continuity will remain. The verbiage will change and the formations and all that kind of stuff. That's work. I'm not going to minimize it like it's nothing. It's a lot. Mm-hmm. That is number one. Number two, we will be, so to Joseph Archer, I think it was Joseph that asked, who will we have to change out of the 4-3? No, we do not. Now, what Dennis Allen will do is bring a hybrid version of the 4-3. At times, it'll look more 3-4-ish at times. And so that means to me that, again, we don't have to turn over all that personnel that we have. He can decide who he wants to keep and do all that kind of thing. But the majority in the core pieces, I'm almost certain most of them he'll want to keep. It might be some contract stuff that comes up with some of those guys, some of that stuff we talked about last night. Who knows how that shakes out? But that I know for sure. That's two. Three, we will be pilfering a few guys off of each one of those rosters. And so on the offense, we talked about, I think it's Kevin Zeitler one of the guards from Detroit. He's a little older in age, but he's the perfect guy to bring in here and install your system. And he's a solid guard. I mean, he's a starter on that offensive line. So hell yeah, you would want to bring that guy in just to get, the process rolling in the right direction. Bring in somebody with system continuity who can help teach the principles and the processes of how they want to go about that. That's coming on offense. Defensively, Dennis Allen will definitely pluck some of his players out of there. And Dennis Allen's always had great defensive linemen all the time. They play a lot of man-to-man, but they also, morph in the zone at times. But you'll see a lot of matchup, man-to-man sticky coverage going on. So I know those three things are going to happen. We'll get Lions and Saints players, and also we will definitely stay 4-3, and we will definitely be running the West Coast. Those are the things I know.
I'm literally scouring the free agent market right now to see if there's anybody of note besides Zeitler on Detroit that Ben Johnson's going to want to bring over, because that's what you tend to see, right? When a coach gets bumped up and moves over to a new team, usually they lean on somebody, a couple of players that they're familiar with, and bring over, like, Equinemius St. Brown with Luke Getzey as a for instance. It's usually kind of how things work. But outside of Zeitler, I'm just scouring through right now. I don't I don't really see anybody from Detroit that we might be leaning on as we move forward.
Oh, to be clear, Kevin Zeitler is a guard, I do believe.
Yeah, he is. He is.
Yeah, it's I think the next name to drop, and I think information will come out sometime tonight. And by the way, you guys check us out right after this show. Me and FFG is going to cover the championship game. We got a bunch of players to spotlight on that show. You guys are going to have fun, kids. You're welcome to pop in there. It's going to be fun. Ain't nothing else going on. Might as well kick it and watch the game. But you guys enjoy that, man. Make sure you come and do that. But I think the next big name to drop, and I'm trying to remember who said it. Oh, it's Daryl Gibson. He said Johnson should pick the offensive line coach for the Eagles, in my opinion. You know what? If we could get that offensive line coach to take basically a horizontal, that would be great. But I don't know. I think that's the next big name to come down the pipe, is who's going to be at offensive line coach. You can almost guarantee King Booker, you're going to get your damn wish. Chris Morgan is gone. He will not be back here. If I'm wrong, I'm telling you, man, I'll eat a bag of glass. But I'm almost guaranteeing you Chris Morgan is gone, bro.
Yeah, don't get that twisted now. All of them guys are gone. Kerry Joseph, like, it was funny. I read the Kaylin Kaler article because I had to. She was just preaching to the choir, so I had to do it. And she kind of outlined. She outlined how many folks were all tied into the Trace Armstrong. There's like 6 of them. I don't see any of those guys being anywhere near this team moving forward, and that's cool.
She busted his ass out, didn't she?
Well, no, you know who she's, who she really like. So the fact is, I'm a businessman. If you're, and it's so funny, Nomad, because we were talking about like bundles yesterday. Remember how we were talking about sales and bundles and stuff? This is a secondary conversation we're having, but that's basically what Trace Armstrong is doing. So I don't hold him in the wrong for doing what. Hey man, guess what? I'll give you a discount on my commissions if you take both of my guys, because I'll see the money either way, right? It's just a bundled package deal, and he's making money. The Bears are happy because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. You know what I mean? But that's really what's going on. You have to fault the guys who were signing off on this stuff, it's McCaskey and Ted Phillips. Those are really the guys who are at odds and at issue here. Kevin Warren had nothing to do with it, so he gets a pass. And I think Kevin Warren, at the very least, kind of saw what was going on coming in here, and may have suggested heavily that somebody read the Kaylin Kaler article, and maybe we want to pivot. So, I mean, Ryan Poles is still here. They stuck with the guy. But so far, I think it's going to be a fresh new coaching staff.
Hey, I bet you Kevin Warren came in there and went in George's office and said, "Hey, man, I heard Trace Armstrong has a keypad. A keypad."
Either that, or
he's changing the motherfucking code.
Well, look, like shout out Caleb Kaler, man. You put the McCaskies on blast, and I think they deserved it more than I think they did. They definitely deserved it, and all the more reason for them to pivot and move in a different direction. And I'm quite happy with that. So moving forward, I don't believe any of those guys, as much as I was touting up Kerry Joseph and stuff, but former CFL guy from my played in my hometown, all that. I'm appreciating change. Hopefully they make some sort of shift. Paul Rodriguez, before we continue on, I was kind of thinking the same thing. It would have been cool to have Riverboat as DC too. I thought that would actually be that would be kind of cool. But
what if they brought in Monken as the offensive coordinator, man? Because man, the Ravens. I mean, I
horizontal though, bro. You know what I mean? Like
really blew it. I don't know that Todd Monken is head coach material. I like him, but I think he's a little bit. He's very bristly, man. And I don't know if that's gonna, that can go a good way and bad, really bad. You know what I mean? He's a spicy, salty ass guy, man. He's not one of them dudes that's gonna bite his tongue when he's talking to people.
Well, and that's for that reason alone. I like him. I know everybody's like, "Oh, he's great. He's a great offensive coordinator." I like him for that reason. I like that he's gonna cuss everybody out when the need be. You know what I mean? Call it like he sees it. And he's not gonna mince words about it. Call it like he sees it. And in that respect, Monken was definitely in. He made his way up to my personal top 5 head coaching candidates. I have to say, I got to give him a little bit of love.
Have you ever really heard him mic'd up?
Yes. Couple of times, bro.
So like I've seen coaches get hit in their shit. Like he would be a prime candidate to get a big ass eye. And it's just a guy out there somewhere that will fuck your shit up for running. I mean, you just like, I'm one of those guys like, dude, I don't need you in my face spitting and doing all that, man. I can hear you, bro. Don't get out of personal space. Like, I'll hit you in your shit. I'm just one of those guys.
And that's cool. You know what I mean? There are people like that out there. I'm not sure if there's room for that type of reaction on this team, this offensively floundering / completely inept team, right? You need to shut your mouth and do what he's saying and hope to God it works. Because if it's working and you're running your mouth, somebody should smack you. You know what I mean? Like that, it's literally that simple. And I just like the fact that he was a little bit fiery in that regard. But I honestly can't even consider anybody going, moving horizontally to come over and be part of this. If they do, cool. I'm with it. I just don't see. I wouldn't foresee that. So it's going to be somebody we probably haven't really thought about by way of actual. Oh yeah, Mark Brunell.
That's a quarterback's coach. I've heard that name.
But it's an upgraded move for him. You dig?
It could be. It could be him as a coordinator. I mean, he's, anytime you got a former quarterback coaching a quarterback and design, it won't be his offense. He'll be running Ben Johnson.
He's running Ben Johnson's offense. You got it. So, Ben Johnson's the OC. Like he's
here's my only trepidation with it. And I shouldn't even have that because he just got through coaching for years a right-handed quarterback. Got to remember, Mark Brunell is a left-handed guy. So he's, I don't know how that dynamic works out, man. I'm just curious to see. I would be curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I can't really speak to that. That is an interesting portion of it, but all the more reason for him to maybe get bumped up to a like a figurative OC role. Now you can sort of double layer the quarterback coaching. You double it up. You get another. You can get him and Josh McCown. I'm just throwing names out there now to really focus on developing Caleb Williams, 2 relatively high caliber quarterbacks. I know I'm giving a little bit of extra love to Mark Brunell, but you know what I mean. Because he's not really he's not going to get to call plays. He's not going to be calling plays. He'll just be OC. He'll be as OC as Mark Helfrich was, right? He was OC in title, but he was really just a scapegoat when shit went sideways.
Here's Katrina coming into the show, coming into a kid's birthday party, throwing water.
Katrina, you don't like it?
Katrina, I love it. She don't give a fuck. She gonna say what
She
the fuck.
gives zero. She gives zero fucks though. Big ups, Katrina. Yo, big ups to you. You're like, and this is what I had to put the pin in this thing before we got too hype about it. I had to put the pin in it and give that exact disclaimer. So I'm gonna give the Katrina disclaimer. Ben Johnson isn't a good hire, she says, quote unquote. A rookie coach going to a terribly constructed team. So I can't argue with Katrina for a second. This 2025 season, guys, there's no magic wand. I already said it. There's no magic wand. We have to give the guy a year's worth of runway, and I think that basically just saved. Like I'm being as real as I can. I think this has saved Ryan Poles for an additional year. I'm being like, this is a PR win, right?
Come on, gentlemen. Don't be chauvinistic. I see the comments, Kenny and Scrolls. Come on, don't be like that. We got to respect her now. We got to respect her. But she walked into it.
Damn, Scrolls. Hey, look, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. We got to give the guy, we have to give him some runway, right? He has to get some runway now that he's here. They got the top candidate. He has zero experience, y'all. Right? So let's not, we're all happy. We're all happy about it, but let's look at the reality of it. He's never done this before in his life. So it might not be
that's the only
one sauce in 2025.
That's the downside to it. If you got to find something to be, I guess that make you scratch your head, be cautious about this pick is the fact that we got a rookie head coach. You know what I mean? This is his first time around the barn with this man. And, just like anybody else that's coming and doing a job for the first time and doesn't have any experience doing it, you're going to need some time to grow at your job. And so it's going to be a certain amount of, try, fail kind of thing that's going to go on. He's going to come in here and, schematically, he's going to try some stuff with Caleb that may or may not work with him. Caleb's going to want to do some things that he may or may not want to do it. I mean, it's all kinds of ways. And when it comes to the game management part of it, it's a good thing he's got Dennis Allen there, because Dennis Allen has experience being a head coach, and he'll have an idea of what to do in key critical situations too. So that's always good.
And that is probably the best part of all this, to be frank. I know you were kind of bigging it up yourself, but I have to agree with Dennis Allen's tenure with the deep man. I'm just looking at what he's done. Oh, yeah, like Dennis Allen's a great look though, dude. Right? So he's a great look. So he's been head coach a couple of times, right?
So, kids, I just want people to understand this. And I think you know this better than most because you're always hearing me talking about it on air, off air. But I eat, sleep, and shit defense and defensive coordinators. I know what they do. I'm telling you, when I tell you Dennis Allen's a bad boy, and I tell you that he put Tom Brady into retirement, go check his goddamn resume and see if I'm lying. I'm telling you, Dennis Allen's a bad boy. He may not have had everything that he needed on that team since what's his name left and he became the head coach. He didn't have the personnel assembled that he normally has. That was a Super Bowl caliber defense the whole time he's been there, except for the last year or so.
I wish I could argue with that. I can't.
I know this shit, kids. I'm telling you, we got a good one.
So why I was leaning towards a Ron Rivera, and I'm just do a quick comparison here. But why I was leaning toward a Ron Rivera is really that he has been to the dance and done the darn thing from a defensive side. And yeah, man, this guy's done those things. He's a former Super Bowl champion. Being a head coach, he's going to bring that fire and discipline and heat as far as the defensive side of the ball is concerned. And that was really part of the worry, right? Was that, who's going to be the guy on that side of the ball who's going to keep the discipline, keep game in line, right? Keep the players in line and make sure that things are moving the right way. This is an impressive little resume if you get to take a peek at Dennis Allen. He's been a head coach a couple of times. Oakland Raiders, New Orleans Saints. I'm I'm kind of impressed. He's been defensive coordinator slash man. He was defensive coordinator for the Broncos during one of their heavy defensive periods. So I'm kind of impressed by who Ben Johnson was able to get right behind him on the defensive side. So I'm hoping that we don't see much of a slip up defensively as we move forward. I think we can probably maintain a lot of what Eberflus had in play with a guy like Dennis Allen.
And you know what, man, even though I don't know any of this to be true at all, but I'd have to imagine that polls might have, as an emphasis to, how much time and money they spend on that defense, probably lean into Ben Johnson and letting them know, like, hey, you're gonna be able to hire the coach you want, the coordinator you want, but my leanings towards the 4-3, because we spent so much money and capital on this, is if you can find a guy that's with that like mindset, that's a really good, here's my list of guys. That's what I would have did, and I don't know how that happened, but I'm so goddamn glad they landed on Dennis Allen. I mean, it's like the biggest relief ever. Now I know how to go look for players in the draft. You know what I mean? I know exactly what to look for now.
That's crazy. I really didn't. So he got fired. Everybody went completely silent, and everybody just started talking about how Aaron Glenn might wind up as the new head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Nobody was really talking about the defense in New Orleans or that head coach that's been over there for the last little while. Nobody's really talking about it because, since Drew Brees left and since Derek Carr's perennially hurt, things haven't really looked good under his tenure. But the defense has. Straight up, it has. With an aging Cam Jordan, who, like I said, at a hometown discount might be a great guy to bring over to shore up that other side, right? A little bit of a discount for Cam Jordan to keep rocking, keep doing the thing for another year under his guy. Interesting talk, right? So I'm impressed by who he's got as a defensive coordinator, and I think it's going to allow us to maintain some of the dominance that we've been experiencing with this defense, with the slight exception of the few games minus Eberflus this season. So that's a great hire. That's a very good look.
Like I'm guaranteeing you kids and everybody watching and listening to this show, like I do this shit on a regular basis, watch film, and like I'm gonna get myself brushed back up on how actually good, Dennis Allen was with that Saints defense. I know what the stuff is. It's just I'm just gonna brush up on it, look at the traits, some of the things that I know you guys are gonna want to hear about moving forward. Like what kind of guys is he gonna be looking for? He's gonna be looking for another Cam Jordan, versatile, bigger player that's an edge rusher that can play inside. Kind of, it's really the same stuff, but a more aggressive hybrid version of it, which I was imploring Flus to just, damn, then look at what other teams are scheming up and add that to your repertoire. Stop being so goddamn plain. But you never seen more of that out of him, man. It's just, I'm telling you, we'll get to the quarterback with Dennis Allen in here. Guarantee you that.
Well, I'll say it one more time. Great opportunity with Cam Jordan as a free agent to just go damn well get Cam Jordan. You're not busting the bank. You know what I mean? You're going to be paying regular money for an older guy that we all know can get the job done. If we're talking about pass rush, we know Cam Jordan can get the job done. Maybe he takes a couple of snaps off and you rotate in somebody else, but he'll get to the quarterback alongside a Montez Sweat. And oh yeah, Chase Young is also a free agent. So the two guys that he was basically sending to get quarterbacks are readily available right now at low wallet share deals that we could bring in. So that's kind of an impressive little situation. Things are completely up in the air for New Orleans as they move forward. And I think the Bears can actually take advantage of a couple of personnel wins here right now. I want to speak to what King Booker got on the screen right now.
Before you do that, one other thing I want to add, kids, is like I've seen the Chase Young film wherever he's been, whether he was in Washington, whether he was with New Orleans, at San Fran last year. And the Chase Young film in those other two places kind of looked lackluster in comparison to what he is when he's across
in New Orleans. You're right.
When he's with Montez Sweat. When he sees Montez Sweat on the other side of the ball, it's a straight race to the quarterback. And they're competing against each other live during games. Like, I got to him before you did. I hit him first. And I'm telling you, they are dynamic together. I would love to see that team be, that team of guys be put back together, man. I think it'd be a dynamic, and there'd be a force in nature, man. It's something we need.
Like, to be honest with you, and I'll even throw the guy that Ricky Leahy, you know what I'm saying? Like, thank you for that. I'll even throw the guy Ricky Leahy's talking about. All three of those guys are affordable. You could triple down. You know what I mean? You could triple down on Cam Jordan, Khalil Mack, and Chase Young, and still be well south of what you're paying for Montez Sweat on the other side. You get all three of those guys, right? So that is an idea at how you shore up that defensive end position on the opposite side of Montez Sweat. Also have a little bit of depth at the position. You know what I mean? And you can rotate through. I think that's just a great idea. I'll just throw that out there now. And Ryan, I hope you're listening, bro. Great idea. I'd go look at all three of these guys and send them money right now, because from what Spot Track is telling me, they're all affordable, right? Up in age, Cam Jordan. Up in age, Khalil Mack. Younger Chase Young, sort of looking at a reclamation, as a reclamation project. I'm sorry, Jacob Martin, you're a free agent. I just don't see it. I'm sorry. Who's the other homie who's gone? Who's the other guy on the? Oh, Hardy's also a free agent too. We got all three of the other guys that we had at the defensive edge position.
I think Dennis Allen, he'll definitely like Hardy, because Hardy's so goddamn aggressive, man. He'll like Hardy. Like
I'm saying, they're all free agents, bro. All of those guys that we brought in this season were only signed to 1-year deals and are readily available as free agents on the market as we move forward. Now, Martin is probably the cheapest of the three, so I could see us retaining and or bringing him back just from a dollars and cents perspective. But really, like I'm telling you, you could get all three of these guys that I just mentioned, and no, you're gonna get somebody gonna hit the quarterback's gonna get hit. Somebody's gonna hit a quarterback.
Hey, you want to do us a favor before we get out of here, kids? Because we really quickly approaching
time.
Yeah, because you want to look up Detroit's offensive staff and look who they have as because I know people are going to want to know, because he's probably going to bring some of his staff with him. Offensive line coach, I'm almost certain. Let's see who that guy is. I'm not sure who he is, to be honest with you.
So, and this is one thing that I will preface. Nobody's going to take a horizontal job. All right, so right now, the guy you're asking me about is Hank Fraley. That's the name. Keep it right.
Hank Fraley is that dude, man. I forgot they had Hank Fraley. No fucking wonder that offensive line is good.
Yeah. So
you know what? I'm willing to bet. I'm gonna say it's better than a 50-50 bet that he comes over here with Ben Johnson.
No chance.
Okay, I bet. I'll put it out there. I think.
All right. We'll have a little farmer's bet on this one. And the only reason I'm saying it is just that it's horizontal is all. Right? Not unless
he can make him coordinator.
Well, no.
They can do that. He can make him assistant head coach. He can do any of those titles he wants to. He can do anything he wants to.
That's not over here. That's not crazy.
Yeah.
That's not crazy. You make the offensive line coach the OC in a situation where you're calling the plays. I'm with it now too. Okay. Hank Fraley, y'all keep the name in mind. Hank Fraley. I think that's if Hank Fraley becomes the OC, it's a bump up for him. He gets more money, has a better title, and again, Ben Johnson keeps calling them plays, and it's his offense to run. But what we do know is two things. The first one is Bob Chris Morgan. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. See you later.
Crimson has a point, though. He's right about they're not able to make lateral moves. It's got to give them a bump up You got to give him some kind of upgrade or promotion.
Has to be a promotion. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if talking about Hank Fraley as the offensive line coach won't happen. But you move Hank Fraley up to being that OC or, I don't know, special coordinator. I don't know. You can make shit up. But
they can do the same fucking thing, by the way, and give them a promotion so they can't fuck with.
Yeah, they can definitely do that, and they've already come out and said just to, so he's okay. So check this out now. So Hank Fraley's already interviewed for Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator position. So there's that. All right.
I bet he's going to be on the menu for us. He better be, in order to get what they got out of Detroit eventually here. He's going to have to come with.
I think that's the next domino to fall right there. If they can grab Hank Fraley, what I can say is that clearly he's got an idea of what the F to do with an offensive line. Right? I think we can all agree with that.
I know most people don't know his resume. I'm sure there's a couple.
And they shouldn't, right? They really shouldn't. Nobody's out there really talking about offensive line coaches unless you're like a legendary Harry Heastand or you know what I mean? Like those are the types of guys you're going to hear names be name dropped. Fraley, you know him because you know Detroit's got a dangerous offensive line. You do. Who's responsible for that? This is the guy. And, you give him an OC job in a situation where he doesn't have to call the plays. Oh, boy, you just got yourself some development on that on that offensive line.
He's for people that don't know, we got to get out of here, but do your homework on Hank Fraley, and you'll find out that his resume matches all of the praises that we're giving him over here because he is a stud of an offensive line coach. He's like your offensive line coach's favorite offensive line coach. He's up in that echelon. That's how good he is. And so, I've heard about Hank Fraley for years. In fact, one of my teammates actually played for him as a tight end though. But, that's a whole other conversation, man. But we got to get ready to get out of here because let's give some pleasantries out before you guys make sure you come check us out over here on this national championship game. It's a lot of players that everybody's going to want to see. We got a lot of players profile here. You're going to want to see this. So give us some.
A lot of pleasantries to be given out, yo. Thanks for representing. We're just going to start with our homie, Miguel Goncalves. Thanks for the $10 super chat. We appreciate that. Thank you. And let's go down the line. My guy Hair Bear jumped in. Damian Hernandez, thanks for showing up. Please, all y'all like, share, and subscribe. There's a bunch of human beings out there that I haven't seen before. So there's one of them, Damian Hernandez. By all means, give us a little bit of love, like, share, and subscribe, please. The Scrolls is out there keeping it real in the chat. Paul Rodriguez, T. Collins, Just B's out there. It's Crimson, you dig? Thanks for coming through, Crimson, man. Always good to have you. Jeremy the fourth, not the third or the second. The fourth, very specifically, who's holding it down with us. Kenny Adams out there. Daryl Gibson. Ricky Leahy with the drinks. Shout out to you, Ricky. Yan Hammer. Yan Hammer going to watch a game with y'all, I'm pretty sure, for sure. Who else we got? Pipeline J's rolling with us. Chris Franklin's out there. MC Fact. Joe Vizzo. What it do, Joe? ATF. A.K.A. the Chief Copperfoot. What it do, man? Katrina was pulling us down today, man. Mad love to you, Katrina, man. As always, I think this time, though, and just to touch on what Booker was saying earlier, I think we have some evidence that this guy actually did call plays, and he's been calling plays for a few years in a row, whereas, good old Matt Nagy, might have called some plays, and the one game we can verify they lost, but we still hired him. This time around, I think we hired a really solid prospect, and the question is just now, is the proof in the pudding? Well, we're gonna have to wait and see and allow him to prove it. Shout out to you, Kenny Adams. Thanks for coming through. Who else we got out there? Joseph Archer jumped in with us. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. Big ups to AC Adam. Big ups to Black Diamond. Big ups to Black Rain. Robert Frail was in there. Kind of felt the same way that you felt, Katrina. But like I say, let's see how things go. Let's not be too worried about it just yet. Ralph Love, shout outs to you, my dude. Double M's out there. Jay Sanders was with us today too. Who else we got in a special impromptu live episode? Y'all are killing it in the chat. We got Nick Rembert out there, Marco King, Mikhail 2E8. Probably butchered that. Oh, he's coming in from Twitch. Mad love out there, man. Big props to you, dog.
Hell yeah.
Gotta love our Twitch folks. Adrian Matute. What it do, Adrian, man? Thanks for coming through for sure. Tyrone Miller's with us too. Levante Rogers and Skylark 808. Big shout outs to both y'all. Hey man, thanks for coming through in short notice. Oh, and Jay Capone Don. We appreciate it. Thanks for your super chats. Thanks for chopping it up with us. And at this point now, we're gonna have to just sort of wait and see what this coaching staff rolls out to look like. But so far, I'm very impressed with the I didn't know about this. I'm very impressed with the Dennis Allen addition, because now you've got some cachet, some tenure, and some respect in the building. And I think that's going to go a long way as Ben Johnson grows into being that head coach for the Bears.
You are so right about that. To be honest with you guys, I didn't think that a rookie head coach would come in with that kind of cachet to be able to get a guy like, I mean, that's a former head coach. He just came off of a head coaching job in New Orleans and has the ultimate cachet as defensive coordinators. Usually that's reserved for veteran head coaches that have those kind of relationships and that product knowledge of what he does. Usually I've rarely seen a rookie head coach get a guy of that caliber on defense. So I keep trying to tell you guys, if you like, my specialty is defense. I know the offense, I know the dynamics of it, but I specialize in defense. If you want to know more about that shit, this is the network to come over here and touch. Be over here, get subscribed, get your notification bell rung, because we're going to talk about a whole lot of damn defense this offseason. And we're going to talk about a whole bunch of that on the other side of this show on the All Eyes on Future Bears podcast when we do this championship game. We got a ton of players for you guys to focus on. Come over there and you'll enjoy that, man. But with that being said, I want to say thank you to everybody.
Wait, stop. Okay. No love for Don Burr. Continue.
No love.
He just jumped in the chat as we're shutting it down. I had to make sure he knew there's no love.
Hey, with that being said, we do got to get out of here because we will be live in about 15 minutes from now doing this college show. And hopes everybody comes over there and jumps on in, has a good time with the show. I'm gonna go and get me a beverage and meet these guys in the green room in a minute. We're gonna be going live, but come over and enjoy that. But with that being said, let me leave you guys with these famous words. If you can think it and you can see it, people, there's no reason in the world why you cannot absolutely manifest it. Don't be a prisoner of your own mind. But with that being said, we are out.